Welcome to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I'm your host, Betsy Leonidas, and the founder of the Write Your Own Story company. Girl, I can tell you right now, you are definitely enough. Here we value service, sisterhood, connection, laughter, and that super genuine, keep it real, tell you like it is honesty. My hope is at the end of each episode, you realize you can do whatever it is you dream about and that you are not alone with what you struggle with. I'm hoping that you are snapping and clapping and hell yes in your way through each one of these episodes. So if this tracks with you, let's get started. I'm so glad you're here. Welcome everyone back to the Write Your Own Story podcast. I am your host, Betsy Leonidas, and I am so thrilled to be here with Amy Furbay. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
So Amy and I think we might have met through your husband, Trevor.
We did.
Yes. Trevor has a clothing shop here in Cincinnati and has been in the business for what feels
Ever.
like, forever, truly, since diapers. And my mom and dad love shopping his shop. And, as I got older, I started to shop there, and Trevor is just a wonderful human and then marries this wonderful human. And you just have this contagious, wonderful energy that like people want to be around. So I always find myself being like, I need to buy something. I'm like, here I go. I just want to snuggle up next to Amy.
I love that.
I mean, and I genuinely mean it. And the reason that I asked you to be on this show is because we follow each other on social, and you just are always in such like a positive, but not like fake social kind of way. Like you truly just radiate genuine joy. And I think that the world feels so, I don't know, heavy and hard, and we're all old enough where life is hard sometimes, but you have this wonderful sunny disposition that is so genuine. And so I wanted to really inspire women out there. And the intention of this episode is really to like how to live a happily ever after. And what I love about your story is your happily ever after is truly your disposition. It's not your husband. It's not your job. It's just,
this is so great. I love this.
Good. I do too.
Yes, keep going.
I know. I was like, and you're pretty and you're beautiful and you're smart, because all these things are very true. But seriously, like, I think it's genuinely inspiring when I think about, and we know each other well enough that I know some of your twists and turns, and I love how you have come out of it. So I think, women, God, wouldn't it be nice to live happily ever after? I feel like so many people, I feel that way, but I'm like, wait a minute. You can literally decide at this very second to live happily ever after, and you will. And I think even just you and I chatting in the kitchen, like just the honest conversation about like, what does that mean? How do you get there? What's the imperfect version of it, etc. So girls, today we are going to learn how to live happily ever after via Amy.
Okay.
Okay.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. The next is I'm going to make Amy super uncomfortable and make her tell us a little bit about herself.
Okay. I'm Amy Furbay.
Mm-hmm.
I am married to Trevor. I have 3 children.
Yes.
Madeline is 28, Jeffrey is 26, and William is 16.
Oh my goodness.
I live in Terrace Park.
Mm-hmm.
Fun fact, I've always lived in Terrace Park my
Really?
entire life. Never left.
Wow.
So
That's the Cincinnati way. When you got it good, you got it good.
well, but I told my children, you have to leave. You have to go explore the world,
Yes.
realize there's life outside of this beautiful bubble, because
Yes.
it's beautiful, but it is also a bubble. And not
yeah.
really how the real world is.
Yes, agreed. Yeah.
And, my whole life was Florida for spring break, Michigan in the summer.
Yep. Terrace Park is
the rest
home.
of the year.
It truly is the Cincinnati formula.
Not where did you go to college? It's where you go. Where'd you go
to
to high school?
Yeah. What coast of Florida are you on?
Yes,
Where in Michigan are you?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
So, and it was lovely, but honestly, not until I met Trevor.
Mm-hmm.
He took me to New York for the first time, and I was like,
yeah.
this is, and we've traveled it so much, and there's this whole big world. So
yes,
thankfully my daughter's gone from Dallas to Chicago. My son and his wife live in New York.
Oh, that's so great.
And then William is still here, but knows he wants to go away to college. So.
And I'm, your kids do whatever you want to do, but Cincinnati has this boomerang effect. I moved to New York and I was like, I'm never coming back. I love Cincinnati. We'll always love Cincinnati. But I just was like, no, this is where I live now. This is where I'm building my career. This is where I met my then husband.
Right.
And then here I am, I'm back. It just has this like, you don't even know it's coming, this like whiplash. Next thing you know, it's something about when you want to have a family. It's such an amazing place to raise a family, but to each their own.
That's right. And you have all these great life experiences now that you brought back with you, which is what I want my children to do. I don't know if they'll come back. I think maybe Jeffrey, Maddie, I'm not so sure. She loves Chicago, but
I love it. And
one can
dream. If not, great place to visit.
Yes.
Yes. I love that.
Yeah.
Okay. So you and Trevor work together. So Trevor has his store. You have come on, and I love that your role is the chief happiness officer. When I read that, I was like, yes, this is what I'm talking about. Like, what does that even entail? Like and so Trevor has this, like, I mean, you have multiple locations, you have a men's and women's line. This is not just like a little store with some nice clothes in it. Like, it's tailored suits. It's like, this is like a very established business.
Yep.
And you come in and you're like, I contribute now in a major way, which is awesome and badass. And you're like, but to be clear, like, the most important thing for me within this organization is its energy. And so I am the self-proclaimed, self-promoted, as we should. Yes. Tell me what that means.
So it just means that, I try to the best of my ability to make everyone happy. We like, whether it's, Henry, the shop dog, being there, which sadly
I heard
it's not, but now Ginger, the shop dog, of course, everyone loves a dog. When you walk in the store, there's, this great dog, and I make homemade chocolate chip cookies.
Yes, you do.
And, we have a kitchen in all the stores because I love to cook. It is my favorite thing to do. And so, we do a lot of events, and, so we can cook, and we serve bubbles and alcohol. And, it's just fun. I want everyone who walks in the door to feel like they're walking into my home.
Oh, I love that.
And that they're being greeted and taken care of, and they're happy.
I love that. And that, like, first of all, from like a customer perspective, it's so much more than like, I'm coming in here for a gift, or I need a new suit, or I'm getting married, or I have an event to go to. It's like a genuine experience. Like, I'm sure you notice that people hang out for a while.
And that's what we want.
Yeah.
It has to be. It's too easy to, get on Amazon or
Totally.
do something online. So we want it to be an experience. We want you to feel like you can come in and just have a glass of bubbles and not buy a thing.
Yeah.
Just pet the dog and hang out. I mean, we literally do have people who open the door and they would say, oh, is Henry here today? We just want to say hi to Henry, or,
especially little kids, I'm sure, walking by.
Yes, or if there are no cookies, because I don't really do them in January. Everyone has resolutions.
Yeah.
I travel and there aren't cookies, but if cookies aren't there, it's like, oh, no, there aren't cookies.
Where are the cookies?
I haven't figured out how to like keep them in the freezer. So they're all, I don't know.
I'm not a cook, so I'm like, you let me know.
We'll get there. But yeah,
I think, and then I also think about like what effect that must have on the people that work for you guys and support the store and vendors and all these things, where like you are someone that people, it's contagious. They want to work for you. They want, like, we were talking off camera in the kitchen, and we were talking about how like energy sort of is contagious, and we were talking about matching energy and dating and all sorts of complicated stuff. That might be a whole other episode. But this notion of that, and like, good energy is contagious. And so when you come in and you're bright, shiny, bubbly cookie self, and then your employees, no matter how bad of a day they're having, they're like, it's just great to be here. It's great to be in this energy. And then someone walks in, like, I forget what I just read recently, that like, sort of relatively the same. If you hug someone, it affects something like 4 people deep, because it's like,
I love that.
Yeah. Isn't that amazing?
Oh, I love that.
I will find the actual like proper substantiation versus me just being like, if you give a hug, 4 people get happy, because there's more substance there. It's piled away.
Yeah. My son used to say it's the length of the hug. Like, he would go in for a hug, and, I'd go, and he's like, nope. Hasn't been like 6 seconds yet, Mom. We need to, and then he would give which I forget now, but
yeah.
And it is true. When you hang in there, it just keeps going.
Those back pat hugs, they don't do it for me.
Oh, actually they really bother me.
They infuriate me.
My ex-husband used to do a little
back pat.
Oh, and I'm just like,
not going to do it.
No,
not going to do it. See? Okay. Everyone out there, if you are a man and you are listening to this show, there will be no back pat hugs allowed. I 100% Okay. So you mentioned ex-husband. We've mentioned that life takes twists and turns. You can share anything you want to share. But what I love talking, one of the main themes that has just kind of like bubbled up, bubbles, that's going to be the theme of this episode. That has bubbled up in, probably the 100 hours of conversation that I've been so fortunate to have on this couch is that pivots happen, and the most successful, the happiest, the most content people have really used those pivots for good, whether they've happened to you or for you. Do you want to share just, I don't know, what kind of pivots have happened?
I think that it started early for me.
Yeah.
I lost my mom when I was 7.
Yeah. Gosh, I'm so sorry.
She had breast cancer. She passed away when she was 39 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So that, although I guess, I remember, being sad. I remember her in the hospital bed in our house. I remember all of those things. But it wasn't until my daughter turned 7 that I had a real, this moment of allowing myself to be sad for
your
my
7-year-old
self.
Oh, that's
it was
profound.
And it was eye-opening,
Yes.
It was really, but I think that is really what started my the ball rolling of my life being led by gratitude, because yes, my mom passed away. Yes, that was horrible.
Yes.
But then things happened after that. My dad got remarried a couple years later. I have a younger sister. I can't imagine life without my sister.
Yeah. I've just got goosebumps.
She's the reason, not that I don't want my mom back, but if I didn't lose my mom, I wouldn't have my sister.
Yeah.
And I think that that's how life works.
Yeah.
And there are people who recognize that and can see it and look for it and know that, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, is always dropping these little, this way, and you either know to pick them up and to keep going, or you don't, and you stay in a place of stuckness and not believing that everything happens for a reason, which is I don't know, if I had a billboard, it would be everything happens for a reason.
Yeah.
And so, those kind of things happen. I think I'm a better parent.
Yeah.
Because I appreciate things so much more when you go through loss. And, I lost my dad when I was 30. He was 64. He had a heart attack, very unexpected. I really thought my life was over. I don't know how to move on without my dad. He was everything.
Yeah.
And, you get signs, you get little signs, and things along the way. Not if you're lucky, I think everyone gets signs, but if you know to look for them, or if you just, they're going to be there.
Yes.
I have this great little story that, just because we're doing this, I think I'm going to share.
I would love to hear it.
My mom to me has always been a bunny. When I see a bunny, I know it's her way of saying I'm here.
I'm here.
Yeah. Jeffrey and I, my son, 26-year-old, when he was in grade school, we went on a walk, we saw a bunny, got home that night. I'm like, okay, Mom, I know you're a bunny, but maybe once just a koala bear.
Yeah. I love it. I love this.
She had a little picture of a koala bear on her bedroom or wall. I remember that one. I don't know. Went to bed, woke up the next day, forgot about the koala bear.
Yeah.
Went to pick William up from school, my youngest. He was in preschool at Country Day, and he comes running out and he says, Mom, look what I found in the scavenger hunt today. And he hands me a little koala bear, where you squeeze its back and its arms open. And
if people could see my arms, I am just, the hair on my arms is standing straight up.
The koala bear sits on my kitchen window now. William's 16, so several years later. And I had this moment of just gratitude, because if I hadn't seen the koala bear ever, I still believe that my mom is with me and watching me and dropping those things, this is where you want to go, this is what you should do kind of moments. But she did send me the koala bear, and it was just this, see, I am right. This is the way.
Yes.
So
I love that. It reminds you that even when you suffer loss, you're not alone.
Right.
And I think that is like, loneliness is truly like one of the harder parts of grief, I think. Whether you've lost a marriage, whether you've lost, truly like your spouse has passed, your parent has passed, like the absence of what was is so heavy. But it is like, I love that you are not alone. They are right here with you.
Always. And it gives you a greater appreciation for everything. It's like, losing my dad at that age.
Yeah.
I am definitely then more present in my children's lives, more intentional, just because you realize, life is short.
Life is short.
And it's coming fast, and anything can happen, and things like that are supposed to knock you off here, which they do.
Yeah.
But you get back up, and you are just grateful.
Yes.
For every moment,
every day. Like, it really is the perspective. Like, every day is your chance to wake up and decide, okay, today's going to be a great day. And like, your car could not start. Your car could not start, but like, what if there was an accident and you could have been a part of it?
That's how I look at things like that. I'm like, if you're in traffic, it's like, okay, this is saving me from something else.
Right.
I know
right.
I know it is.
Yes.
You have to. That's how you kind of get through it.
Yes. You have a choice for your thoughts. I was watching the Today Show, and Carson Daly is super open about like his struggles with anxiety and like, I don't know, I think it's just anxiety, but regardless, like, he truly is like struggles with it. And he had this great analogy that like, this notion of like, you get to choose your thoughts. So like, you're sitting in traffic and you're either like, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Or this is saving me from something. I'm going to choose that one. So it was this great analogy that you're in the ocean and you're like sitting on a surfboard, and the wave comes. And then you can choose to catch that one, or you can choose to catch another one. And he was like, and it's your choice which wave you ride. So you can choose your thought, just like you can choose your wave, just like, you can choose whatever it may be. But like, I think one of the other key themes that I'm hearing from you, and that I've heard from other women, is that like, your happiness is your choice. And then it is your choice to protect it with wild abandon too.
Yep.
I love this. What are your signs for your dad, if you don't mind me asking?
I don't. So, after my dad passed and I was in a pretty dark place.
I can imagine. Yeah.
I was, well, there was this dove that appeared in this little pear tree that we had outside of our house. And the day, that we had the visitation, like, everyone was there, the house was full, and I'm like looking outside, and my friends are around this pear tree, and they are like face to face with this dove.
Yeah.
And I was, not thinking anything at that point, but the dove didn't go away. So for, I don't know, a week, I could walk up and like look at the dove.
Oh my gosh.
The dove wouldn't fly away. Pear trees aren't big,
right.
It was like right there. And so I started counting on that as a way of like, oh, that's my dad. That's my dad. I was coming home one night, and that, I Hope You Dance. Do you know that?
Oh, yeah.
Leanne
yeah.
Womack,
yeah. Leanne Womack.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm listening, and I'm like, oh, wait, that's my dad. Like,
Aww.
Here I am in this terrible state. I'm like, don't want to do anything. I have these young children, and I feel like my life is over. And that is not how my dad raised me. Like, he did not want me to bury my head and be miserable. It was like, girl, go dance.
Right. I hope you
And
dance.
I knew as soon as I pulled in the driveway that dove would be gone. I just knew it. And the dove was gone. And it was like, you got my message.
You got my message.
I was here when you needed me. Now go.
Yes.
And it,
you've got the assignment.
Yeah. Oh, and his passing changed my life. I was married to Maddie and Jeffrey's dad, who was my high school sweetheart, and really lovely, nice man, but has his own struggles.
Yeah.
And I knew that that's not how I was going to spend the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And so then got divorced.
Yeah.
And met my second husband.
Yeah.
And we know how that turned out.
Right.
But again,
yeah,
I have William.
Right.
I have this beautiful child that I just love so much. And if I hadn't gone through that, then I wouldn't have William. So there are these
1,000%.
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason.
Fun fact, if I hadn't married my second husband, I would not know Trevor, which is how I met Trevor.
See? Sometimes you just have to go through it,
right,
to get to the other side.
Yeah.
One of my favorite memes right now, and I send to my best friend Lauren all the time, is like this like British actor who's reading the Bear Hunt book. You can't go over it. You can't go under it. You got to go through it. And it's like, these are your spirit guides being like, you can't go over it. And we're like, again. Yes. So you had to go through your second marriage to get your third beautiful child, to meet your forever man.
Yes.
Yeah.
It just really, I feel so, every day, I just feel lucky. I really do. And it's not, I put in the work. When I was in my early 20s, I struggled really. I had anxiety and panic attacks back when they were just like, what do you mean? What's a panic attack? No, I'm dying. Like, I can't breathe right now. You're telling me I'm having what? This is not in my mind, and it was bad. I was like, couldn't go to restaurants. I couldn't go to stores. I like, for a year or two, I was medicated. But I look back now, and I had this great therapist, Kurt Spear. He's retired now, and I just miss him so much. But
come on, Kurt, come back.
I know. I'm like, what? How am I going to live without you? But he helped me to believe that the anxiety and things like that happen, it's like you have this soldier who's always on guard.
Yeah.
Your anxiety is this soldier who's like always checking to make sure everything's okay. And if you embrace the soldier and, say, thank you, I get it. You're here to help me, but I got this. And you kind of talk to the soldier and then the anxiety kind of dissipates. It's like, I got this, but thank you for being here. And sometimes I do believe the soldier saved me from, reckless mistakes.
Yes.
And not all. I've had my reckless mistakes, but, live and learn. You know better, you do better.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's your perspective.
I love that, because I know so many women who suffer from anxiety, and there are plenty of women. I used to have panic attacks too in my 20s. And I would be so embarrassed, because I'm like, I can't tell anyone that I'm about to die. Like,
everyone knew I was.
I was the other way. I don't know why. I was like, I will just sit here and die in silence. Because I was so embarrassed that I was so out of control, which is like a whole nother story. But like, I'm so grateful to be able to unwind that and to like be able to. I remember I was literally like in the ER thinking I was dying. My ex-husband rushed me to the ER. I was like, I'm dying. And he was like, got it, you're dying. Like I looked like I was dying. Right. And they put like the oxygen reader on my finger. I was shaking so bad it flung across the room. And I was talking to the nurse. And he was like, honey, if you can talk, you can breathe. And I was like, Oh, stopped right there. I was like, I was literal, like, I'm dying. This is it. And like from a level 2000 to a 0, I was like, oh, cool. Like it's just those tricks, like your soldier, that like, if I feel panicky, I just start talking. I'm like, well, good news, I can still breathe. Like the little stuff, but like you have to
learn along the way.
Yeah. And you have to put those in your pocket and realize that you have more tools out there than you think, that life does happen, but like you are well equipped at this point because you've done the work.
Yep.
I love this.
Yeah.
I love
You have to do the work.
You have to do the work. So like, given that, you've lost both your parents, you've been through divorce, like, twice. I wasn't going to count. I was going to let you count.
Well, my son thinks it's funny, but he's like, come from a broken family twice. I'm like, Jeffrey.
Way to just play that violin right there. Yeah. You're like, I'm trying. What does happily ever after mean to you? Like, what is that to you?
I have this little plaque that sits in my bedroom mirror that says happily ever after. So every day,
you do?
Every day. And I've had it for years and years and years. So it's the first thing I see when I go in the bathroom and look in the mirror is happily ever after. And happily ever after for me is, it's how I'm living my life. It's my children are healthy and happy. And, I have this beautiful husband who is healthy and happy and loving and kind, and this business that we have, employees that make it possible for me to be in the store or to be at home making dinner. You know, like I'm a big homebody, and I love that old school, you know, Trevor comes home and
dinner on the table,
a nice dinner. And I love that. I know there are a lot of people who are like, oh God,
but to each their own. Either you love it or you don't, and it doesn't matter.
I love it. I love it. So we have this great team.
I'll be over for dinner.
Okay.
For the record.
Love that too.
Okay, great.
I'll be like, hosting.
Trevor, hi.
I'm here. Amy said dinner's at.
Amy said dinner's at 7. I'm here.
So yeah, happily ever after is just being able to wake up every morning happy and also like not happy sometimes, you know, totally. I just lost Henry.
I know. I'm so sorry.
It's my ride or die. And, you know, I tell you the first day I didn't leave my bed.
I would not either.
Sweet Ginger didn't leave my side, which is very sweet. But, but then it lessens, you know, and there are times that I'm just sad and it's okay. And, you know, and then okay.
I think that's so important. Let's talk more about that. That like happily ever after does also include shit days
100%.
and really hard things.
And allowing yourself to not get out of bed and be sad and also not always be smiling and happy. And Trevor and I were just doing this pop-up in Florida, and I was, I get hangry.
Oh, same girl, same.
Okay.
It's not safe for anyone.
And I had to say, like, I am really sorry, but I'm a bitch right now because I am really hangry.
Yes.
And I can't even talk right now.
Can't even get words out.
And they were just like, oh, that's okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were you were really always nice. And I'm like, no, I'm hungry. Get me something. Trevor knows. He's like, please, can we get her some food?
I make bad choices when I'm hungry.
Oh, me too.
Adeline and I always joke. I was in Aloe getting a gift card for one of her friends for her birthday. And I was so hungry. I was like, I'll take that sweatsuit. It's like a $200 sweatsuit. It's sweatpants. Don't get me wrong. I love Aloe, but I was like, I'll take that sweatsuit. I'll take the sweatshirt. And I want the sweatpants.
I mostly just make bad food choices. I'm like, you know, we have a bar cart in the store that I fill with snacks, and
of course
you
do.
Horrible, like Miss Vicky's potato chips, you know. And when I'm I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna have to have chocolate.
It's survival.
It is survival.
It's
survival. Okay. So yeah, allowing yourself to be hungry and be sad and be depressed, but also knowing that you're not going to stay there.
Yeah,
that you're not going to stay stuck. And
that knowing seems to be like a really common like through line for you. You like having faith that it's going to get better. Having like the knowing that you're always being taken care of, you know, something is for you always. That's that idea of like, God has your back or the universe is here for you. Like no matter what, it's happening for you. There is some sort of beauty in every situation. So I love that. I think that like, the woman that I had on the show last week had this whole concept around the 5% difference in this notion of like women get into this like 100% perfect kind of thing. We're going on a tangent. This is one of many. Okay, great. Giddy up. So it was this notion of like, let's say someone was like, I want to be happily ever after. And they think that they have to start a gratitude practice and they have to like, you know, do all of these things that you have built in your toolbox over your lifetime of your own experiences. And it's this notion of what is just 5% more of what you want to be or less of what you don't want to be. Mm-hmm. So like what makes me think, long story long, is that like if someone is like, I want to feel how Amy feels, it's like, why don't you start with just the 5% of just trusting that it's all going to be okay. Mm-hmm. Like, and that's your choice. It takes a long time to reprogram the brain, but it is absolutely doable. And it is that choice to choose a different thought again and again and again. Yep. And maybe that's an easy one to start with just like, I'm just going to trust that it's all going to work out. I'm going to trust that this is all going to be okay. And you have to say that probably 1,000 times a day.
Yeah. And you also have to know that when we were in the kitchen, that, you know, that I live my life waiting for that other shoe to drop, like you said. And also that knowing and going dark is okay. But as long as you, thankfully for me, I have Trevor who's helping build that muscle in me, you know, like, no, it's going to be okay. Like we're going to get through this, or this is allowing yourself to not be at that, even 5% all the time.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that.
Just getting back there though.
I think that's so important to say out loud, even though you are literally one of the happiest, genuinely happiest people that I encounter, you still are afraid for the other shoe to drop regularly. It sounds like.
I am.
Same.
There's always this like, gosh, it's too good. Like it's
because you've had the rug pulled out.
I knew this wasn't gonna, I knew Trevor couldn't be that, you know, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
No.
Right.
We're having this, you know, thing right now, but girl, I'm
here.
This is happily ever after. Like we're in it. And I think I got that from that perspective from my grandmother.
Tell me more about your grandmother.
Chichi, my grandmother Chichi, survived 3 husbands.
My goodness.
Her only child was 103, almost 104 when she passed away.
Oh my gosh.
I love telling this. She got married for the 3rd time at 95.
Amazing.
To a man 10 years younger.
Ooh, girl.
And she had 3 beautiful marriages. Like, you know, my dad's dad, like they were married for years and then he had a heart attack. And then, you know, I think 17 years later, she married Grandpa Charlie and he just adored her. And then she, at 95, got married. We're like, Gigi, why are you getting married?
Lock it down.
Like, and she called one morning and she said, oh, Ray had given her his Cadillac because he had gotten a new one, but that she had to call all of her neighbors to let them know because his car had been in her parking spot overnight.
Oh,
and so,
you know, let's not
get
the rumor mill
going. Not okay. So I guess, you know, which I love that.
I love this.
But, you know, at one of her birthdays, she's like 85 and we're like, Gigi, you know, what's been the best part? And it just keeps getting better. Was her answer. And to be, you know, to go through, she's lost most of her friends at this point, you know, and her only child and, you know, just to still say it just keeps getting better. She had a really strong faith.
Yeah.
And was always smiling and walking and active. It was a bowl of ice cream every night, a walk every day and a bowl of ice cream every night was her like, and your walk and your bowl of ice cream can be anything that you want.
Yeah.
You know?
Your versions of it.
Sometimes it's a glass of wine at night or bubbles or, you know, whatever. But she really instilled in me this power of positive thinking and keep going and always be thankful. And she was such a rock for our whole family. Like just so lovely.
What a matriarch.
Yeah.
And like so beyond her years, right? I feel like, or ahead of her time, if you will. But like the whole notion of like, yeah, I go for a walk, I eat my ice cream and it just keeps getting better.
It keeps getting better. And she was just so elegant. Her slippers were high heels and she loved to dress and, you know, look good and lipstick. I just, it was such a gift to have her for so long. 103.
103.
Yeah.
See, and now you get to be like your version of how you're inspired by that. I think that's the best thing about having all these amazing women that come before us. It's like we just take these nuggets of inspiration and are like, I'm going to hold on to that and make it mine.
And some you hold on to and some you
dismiss.
Say, oh no, I do not want that. You just keep that to yourself.
Yes, it is just as important to know what you don't want, almost more important to know what you don't want than you do. But sometimes don't you find, back to like the waiting for the other shoe to drop, all the things, like even when you finally get brave enough to know what you don't want, it's really hard to enact on that sometimes. Don't you think?
I do, because you don't want to hurt anyone.
Right.
You know, but you also have to have your own boundary. You have to set those boundaries and know that, you know, people are always watching. The people that you love are always watching too, you know? And so I would think, although my daughter, sometimes I joke that we have role reversal. She's the mom and the daughter because she's just amazing. And she's always, you know, when the shoe's going to drop, she's my first call. Or,
I love that.
You know, I call my son, he's going to pray for me because he's,
that's kind.
But it is, I just totally lost it.
I love this. I was like, just wait till you lose your train of thought.
Oh my God.
The other shoe to drop. And wait, I lost it too because I got so excited about your children. Okay, wait, where were we? I was saying,
this is awful. We were doing so well.
We were doing so well. But also for everyone listening, they're like,
oh boundaries. Like
really? That's where we were. Thank God you're here.
Good God. I don't know if it's like menopause brain or what.
Well, I'm not there yet, but I still have it. Maybe it's young children brain times menopause brain. Yeah. But this, I'm supposed to be in charge of keeping us on track. I'm sorry.
Boundaries. Set your boundaries.
I really was moved by your relationship with your kids, and it just went away. Boundaries. Yeah. Boundaries. Yes. So my point being, though, is like, now I know what I want and what I don't want, but it is still hard to walk away from situations, to say no to situations. Because your point, you don't want to upset anyone.
Right. But sometimes, more often than not, the most important person is yourself. Mm-hmm. You know, you have to take care of yourself. You have to protect yourself, because if you're not, you know, when you're on the plane, you know, put the mask on first. Mm-hmm. You have to kind of think of that as you go through life, is like, make sure that, you know, when your kids are little and you're busy mom, you know, and but if you don't stop and just go, okay, no, or say no to something every once in a while, or more often than not, then you won't be good to anyone. Right. You know?
And if I think about Gigi, like, the reason it got better and better is probably because she knew what she wanted.
Yeah. She just, I don't, you know, I still have like all of her voicemails, you know, on my phone from like years and years ago. And I think I've saved some, like, I always worry, you know, if totally get erased, but just to hear her voice and just to know that she's there. And, and I don't know that I don't know that I need a sign for Gigi. I know Gigi is always there. Yeah. You know, lately I've had this hawk showing up. I see kind of hawks like people see squirrels, which is a little weird.
Like, so frequently, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
And at the most, like, when I need it. Yeah. You know, I'll look and I'm like, Foxy and I will be driving and I'm like, oh, did you see, there's a hawk? She's like, oh my God, you and your hawks. You know, it's like, But I do think that that's maybe it's Gigi. Maybe it's my dad. Maybe it's the universe. Maybe it's just
your sign
saying, it's okay.
But like, what I love is like how much you embrace that knowing. Like, sometimes when I see my signs, I'm like, it can't be true, but it is so true. And you just have to, like, it takes practice. But now I'm like, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah. Yeah. I that makes all the difference. And it's not that I don't know bad things are going to happen, or that, you know, they can't happen, but it's knowing that sometimes it takes 5 minutes for you to go, oh, that's why that happened. And sometimes it takes 10 years. Yeah. And you go, you know, when I was getting divorced the second time, my life was over. Yeah. I was like, this can't be happening. I can't be doing this to my children. You know, like, how did this happen? And I was deaf. I mean, I remember being like on the ground, knees, praying, please don't let this happen. Don't let this be happening. And now I look and I just say thank you. Mm-hmm. Like, I see my ex-husband, I see the woman, and I just say, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And it softens, you know, that it, you have to let go of the anger and the, you know, what's that, when you hold that anger in your heart, it's like drinking poison and expecting the other person to die. Yes. The only person it affects is you, you know, holding on to that. And now I just, it's such a gift to be able to say thank you for all of those things you thought at the time were going to break you. Yes. It's like, no, this was for you. I did this for you. And,
and look at you now. I think I mentioned this in the kitchen, that like one of my very favorite things is a closed door. It's really painful. No denying it. Yep. But it is the redirection that I couldn't give myself. Right. You know, that I was like, okay.
Right. I mean, I know we've talked about this, but I would have stayed in that marriage.
Totally.
I would still be married and living this life of like what I thought it was supposed to be. You know, it's not supposed to be easy. You can't always, this is a struggle, but look at all these things. And now I just am like, oh no, wait, this is what I dreamed of when I was little. This is how I imagined it could be. Yeah. You know, and I do. I really am I'm so grateful for
I love that.
Everything.
And it really is that perspective. Okay. So you have been emancipated a second time and you have met your wonderful husband, Trevor.
Yes.
And what there are so many things. What is it about your marriage that feels like happily ever after to you?
You know, he's my best friend. You know, I always surrounded myself with, girlfriends because, you know, and I was lucky to have that, and I wouldn't trade it, but Trevor and I spend so much time together. You know, we work together.
Yep.
We live together, we travel together, we're always together. And first off, he is the kindest man I've ever met. Honestly, like down to, he does and says things that I am just like,
yeah,
I didn't even think of that. And I'm a really nice person.
Right? You're
you know,
wow.
Like you know, silly things too. Like, I don't know, leaving tips for, you know, when we're at a hotel or something, you know, like he's always thinking of everyone else. Yeah, you know, I used to past life, you know, my ex-husband would say something and I'd be like, oh God, please don't punish me for because I love him, but he just said and did that. You know, with Trevor, I'm like, oh, wow, this is
a gift.
This is such a gift to have someone who's so kind and loving and respectful. And, you know, not that we don't have arguments, but when we do, it's like with respect.
Yes.
And, you know, I can't imagine having him say something like disrespectful, or not that we haven't hurt each other, but it's always been in a, like, just trying to get the other to understand our perspective.
It's like that precious care that you guys take for each other.
Yeah. And I don't, again, you know, if we hadn't had the marriages, if we hadn't come from those marriages, we may not appreciate this as much.
Yeah.
So again, it's like, yes, you got to go through it.
You too.
But look what's on the other side when you get there. And
and you just have to, and like, for those who are sort of in the, I'm going through it. Like it's the faith in the other side.
Yeah. You just have to always keep the faith that there is something better on the other side. And not that, you know, it could take years to get there, but you're going to get there. You really are. And just keep going. Keep going, because it's there.
It's there. I mean, I am obsessed. I love that. And I'm so happy for you, and I'm so happy for him. Like, you know, you both have walked quite a path and you have found each other. And like, what just radiates from the two of you is just this immense gratitude that you've found each other.
Yeah.
And you seem to also, like, you know, you've been together for how many years now?
9.
And you don't, like, that has not worn off.
No.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, not that I am living in La La Land, but you know, that it might, but the knowledge of knowing that if it wears off, we're going to buff it and get it shiny again and find our place back to where we are. That's the biggest gift for me. Is knowing, even though I'm a shoe dropper kind of person, I'm also like, it's there.
And it sounds like he has done the work from a place, like, willingly, lovingly, to be like, no, I'm going to reassure you.
He does. And I have to tell him in the beginning, like, at first he was like, wait, what do you mean? I'm not going anywhere. Like, you're not going anywhere. This is it.
Did you try and break up a lot? For someone who's always afraid for the shoe to drop, my friend always jokes, I was like, I always have my running shoes on. I can't help it. And that's mine to own. And that's something that I continue to work on, to be like, because I am safe no matter what. I don't have to run.
Right.
I think what you're knowing is more of like a slow walk away from anything in life.
Yeah. No, I was always at like, oh no, this is where he goes. This is where he's, you know, going to say,
I'm out.
And he just didn't. And he knows now, like, that he has to reassure me every time. Like he said in the, you know, like, no, I don't like you. And there's no kissy face at the end of my good morning, I love you, or maybe not even an exclamation, but like, I do. I love you, and we're going to get through this.
Right.
And it's so reassuring and comforting to know that you have that in a partner, you know, because it is, people are like, you work together and you live together, and we're like, yes, isn't it great?
It's
lucky?
with your best friend.
Yes. You know, and get to travel like we do. And, when we're in New York, we get to see my son. When we're in Chicago, we get to see Maddie. And I just honestly feel like
I love that.
All the other stuff, they said, we're going to, here's this one.
Keep leveling up. Were you guys best friends right off the start, or did you have to build to that?
No, it was, and I know this sounds so corny, but like, it was magic. Honestly, the minute that I started talking to him, Kenwood Country Club, he was at a swim meet, I was at dinner with girls, and he walked over and he kind of knew my whole story.
Yeah.
And I didn't know his yet.
Yeah.
I just knew he was Trevor and he was Romaldo's, and
right.
And we started talking, and I just thought, oh my gosh, like, this guy is great. So we bonded over that, like, oh yeah, well, mine,
totally.
Like, oh, you think that's bad? Let me tell you this. And then it just became this, like, I don't know. He would like touch my back, and it was electric, and all the corny, like, I'm a romantic, but it was like, he helped me breathe better and made me feel like happily ever after in a partner is so attainable. Cause I was, like I said, I'm like, hey, I like you, but I am never doing this again.
Yeah.
And I'll spend time with you, but and it didn't take long. He was like, oh, okay.
Okay.
Yep. I'm going to still be here. And he has been.
I love that.
I'm just so grateful.
I am so genuinely happy for you, but I also love that, like, I love your marriage, and I love that for you, but I also love for you that is not the linchpin of your happily ever after. Your happily ever after is so many things. He is one of the most beautiful parts of it, but he is not the whole thing.
No.
Yeah. And he probably loves that too. He's like, no, she's like got this beautiful relationship with her children and her friends, and she's creative and brings so much to the business. And like, you live such a full life that I think that is also like so healthy. When we think about the marriages we're in, we're like, no, I'll stay, I'll stick. It's all consuming.
Right.
And so you've built like such a vivid, well-rounded life that like he is just a really huge, significant piece of it, but not the whole puzzle.
Not the whole puzzle. And helping my children see.
Yeah. Yes.
Hey, guess what?
Yes.
Jeffrey, yes, it was broken twice, but look what happens.
Third time's a charm.
Right? Yes, he's taught them, and William can see how we interact and how to treat.
Yes.
People. What you give is what you get.
Yes. And, I love that so much. Okay, so let's talk about the business. Tell me about the store and tell me about Women's.
The store it's great. I just love it. It's growing. We have Harbor Springs in the summer, and Columbus, which is just men's, historic Dublin, and then here in Marymount. Women's is really starting to take off. Amy Fox, who I work with, has really contributed to that. She's amazing. Just awesome.
I love it.
If you know Amy Fox, you love Amy Fox. So it's been a lot of fun. And the fact that we have such an amazing team also is the reason I can be here doing this, I can be at home making dinner. But it's, we do everything. It's off the rack. It's custom. A lot of like bridal events and things like that.
Yeah.
But also you can just come in, like we said earlier, and hang out.
Yeah.
Women's, we're trying to, there's a lot of competition with Women's. There are so many great stores in this area.
I love you for saying it that way too. There's room for everyone.
There is room for everyone.
It is highly competitive, but there's room for everyone.
There is.
That's part of your happily ever after sunny disposition. But I think that's critical, especially as a business owner.
And supporting each other too.
Yeah.
I love to go into the stores and buy things, and I didn't think of that. Oh, that's so great.
Yep. I love that so much. That is so rare and so awesome.
Well, we're all in the same,
bucket.
We are. Yeah. So,
is most of your business, okay, for men's, is it mostly custom bridal, or is it?
No, it's a lot of just sport coats and, custom jacket for the Derby. And, our custom is so easy, and so quick that, we can make anything from blue jeans to shoes to shirts to polos. I think a lot of guys are buying more of their wardrobe that way because they realize like when it fits really well,
I was just
feel better.
Saying to the guy that I'm dating, I was like, fit is everything.
Yeah, and it is. You don't realize until you're, now that I have an eye for it because of, being in this.
Yes.
Like, oh yeah,
It
I
is.
think I would just, bring this up, or those pants are way too long. No, you have to do this, or yeah, it's fit is everything.
Fit is
so,
everything.
We do a lot of off the rack,
Yeah.
The Faraday, the Johnny O, those brands.
Yes.
But,
you support my Christmas year after year.
Thank you.
Jim Fraser is fully outfitted in Trevor Furbay. So is David Fraser.
Thank you.
Yeah. So is Jane Fraser. Yeah.
Yeah. The women's, I'm really excited about the women's.
I love
it's taken a while.
Yes.
People still walk in and go, oh, wait, you have women's?
Well, and that's because Trevor was such an established brand.
Yeah.
He's been, what is the proper word for what he is? Taylor doesn't seem to do it justice. I'm sure I'm saying the wrong thing, but he is a custom clothes designer.
He's just so good at it.
He's so good at it. Yes.
And, we have, our team is so good at it.
Yeah.
George has, I still remember when George walked in the store and was going to be a dentist or an orthodontist.
You're kidding. I didn't know that.
Yeah. He's and then he didn't want to be. This is his passion. He's very much like Trevor, and this is Trevor's passion. Yes. He eats, sleeps, and breathes.
Yeah.
All of it.
I love that.
And George is very much like that. We have such a good team. They're all good at it.
Amazing.
Which is,
and I teach women how to run businesses in 20 hours a week or less, because I think everyone wants that balance that we're talking about. And but the most successful, happy people I've spoken to are doing things that are a natural extension of their gifts and their passion. And I love that. Okay. So you've brought women's in. Tell us about women's. Is it mostly off the rack? Is it custom?
It's mostly off the rack, but we're building custom.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. We, I love a blazer, and there are so many variations and different things you can do from the liner to the buttons to the collar, so many fun, casual to dressy to length to, and that's been really fun. Again, I love Amy Fox is really good. And George at doing that. So pretty much that's our custom for women's.
Yeah.
Otherwise it's off the rack. And we're just trying to figure out what people want us to be, because we have the Ann Mashburn, which I'm a huge Ann Mashburn, very classic. We have classic, but we're also bringing in the May J and the things that are fun for date night, and, trying to gauge where are women and what age, I want to be able for every age to come shop with us.
Your pieces they're so thoughtful. They're the absolute classic where you truly feel confident and elevated, and just the classic sort of
something you'll have for a long time is my goal. Yes. Not something you're just gonna Amazon, fast fashion. It's something oh, I remember when I got this,
I have this beautiful cashmere wrap. And I have so many pieces, I think, from your store that I just am this is either the softest thing I've ever put on my body, and I'm taking it with me bury me in it. Or you were saying, I have an occasion and I just want to feel a little more special.
Yeah.
I do feel that is definitely one of the reoccurring themes of your store, is to walk in and you just walk out. You're I got something special.
Hey, thank you.
I love this. Okay. So if we are not from Cincinnati, can we shop your Instagram? Can we look online? Are we able to? Are we mostly Cincinnati based?
We're trying to figure that out, because a lot of our Harbor Springs are well, we want to shop you all year long. The problem is that and I don't know that it's a problem, but for women, we buy one of each size, because here, as you know, it's very small, and you don't want to go to a dinner party or out and oh,
we're in the same Z's.
I got that. So we did go online, and we were finding that women would buy the extra small and the small, and leave the medium on the floor. They bought this, the large.
Yep.
Then they would keep it, because we're not really we have a very lax return policy. And then they'd be off the floor and they'd return one or both, and there'd be dog hair. We're too small to have where it can end up in wherever, and we just have more that are coming.
So I had a paper and gift shop for a while that was mostly online. The overhead of things that sit that you have no idea what is going to sit or not sit is so challenging.
Yeah.
It's this enigma. It's a Rubik's Cube of trying to figure out inventory. And I can't imagine seasonal size.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So we really try. Instagram is big for us.
Yeah.
We do a lot of Hannah, who runs all of our social media, is amazing.
Yeah, she does a really wonderful job.
I mean, really.
Yeah.
And so we try and show a lot on Instagram.
Yeah.
And a lot of people then will message us and
totally.
say, "Oh, do you have that in a small?" So
can you hold it for me?
That's our way of, or we ship from there too.
I love this.
But online, I don't know. Maybe
I think
the road. But
but like people shop. I think shopping Instagram, honestly, for a lot of people, is easier than it is.
I like to shop Instagram.
I like to shop. I would much rather DM a small business and be like, "Do you have that in a medium? Can you hold that for me, or can you send that to me?" And when I say hold, I don't think I can actually get to the store for 3 weeks. So could you just send it to me?
Yeah.
Like.
And we deliver.
Yeah,
we
I know you do.
A ton of deliveries.
Yes, you've delivered here. You've saved my butt.
Yeah,
many times.
That's been huge during COVID. When we did those style boxes. Yes, it was just Trevor and I. It was like deliveries. Everyone's busy, and if you can just have it show up, and have it be thoughtful and intentional, not like not that there's anything wrong with Amazon, but it's like
it serves its purpose.
Shows up at your door, and you're like, this is great. And then we'll come pick it up.
The amount of thought and care that goes into every aspect of your business, both on the men's and the women's side, like absolutely translate. And as you said, walking into the store, it's like, okay, I get it. Yeah.
Yay.
I love it. Absolutely. It all starts with the chief happiness officer and her insanely creative and talented husband.
Well, I'm also the bad cop at the store. So it is.
I did not have that on my bingo card.
Yeah. I can be the bad cop because Trevor's so he's just so nice. And I'm a little bit like boundaries. And George once was like, chief happiness officer.
My ass. Chief no officer.
And I still he just wished me a happy birthday on. He was like, happy birthday to the chief happiness officer. So
I love that. See, guys, you have to be able to, I'm talking to myself, have to be able to say no. Oh my God. Well, I absolutely have loved this conversation. I know I have to get you out of here because you've got an appointment coming up. But I think there have been, I feel so happy. Genuinely, this has been, what a gift to start the day this way.
It makes me so happy.
I genuinely mean it.
The same way. I was a little nervous. I was like, I don't know who wants to hear anything I have to say, but
I do.
This has been fun.
And
really,
you have helped so many women reframe, get out of a funk, or embrace a funk, knowing that it's going to be,
and know it will be okay.
Yeah. And to know that you have so much control over the energy that you emote. Like, think about it. You, in your store, you're like, I brought a dog. I have bubbles. I have cookies. I have you're setting the stage for your happily ever after moments throughout the day. And like each day you have a choice, each day part you have a choice. Like one of my favorite things to ask myself is how do I want to feel when doing all those things? How do I want to feel when I'm doing the dishes for the 1000th time today?
Right.
It's like, actually, this is a gift that I am so fortunate that I can put food on the table without a blink of an eye.
Yep.
And that I have these beautiful children that I prayed and prayed and prayed for that I get to feed. Yep. So, yep, girl, do the dishes. But I have truly, this has just filled me right up to the brim. So thank you.
Thank you.
Everyone, please check out Trevor Furbay Women's. And please. Trevor stuff too. But the women's line.
We need the love.
Yeah.
We need the love.
And I love you for saying that. Like businesses, we start from like a place of like, we need the love. But I love what you're doing with it. And it is beautiful pieces, and anyone would be so lucky to wear them.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're so very welcome. Okay, you guys, I feel like this is an episode that I want everyone to share. This is just truly a breath of fresh air, the perspective in a world that can feel so heavy and tricky at times. so tricky and tumultuous. But there is just such light and goodness in the world, and it's up to you to cultivate. So Amy, thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're so welcome. All right, you guys, thanks everyone for listening, and we'll catch you next time. Well, that's the end of this episode, but promise me, you won't stop here with whatever it is you're feeling or dreaming about. I hope you leave today feeling empowered to live life just as you see fit. If this podcast was helpful to you, it would mean the world to me if you could leave a review on whatever platform you're listening on. I genuinely just want to help women live the life they dream about. So if this type of content tracks with you, subscribe to this podcast or visit our website, writeyourownsstory.co, to download digital courses or to grab a journal and a mug to just dream in and dream with. It's your life, lady. Do you. And just remember, I'm rooting for you, and you've totally got this.